What's going on, guys? We're back for another We're Racing video. Sorry it's taken a while to get this one up. We've been away on holiday in Mexico. We're going to get into the Canadian Grand Prix and preview the French Grand Prix. What an event it was. It had so much potential. Ferrari was really looking on the front foot, looking like they was going to secure their first win of the season. It was a good start by this Sebastian Vettel going into turn one, got a clean start, held first position. Charles Leclerc even had a look up the inside of Lewis Hamilton, we can see here. But Lewis Hamilton held the outside. Leclerc thought better of it, held station, and lived to fight another day. A pretty clean start at the front of the grid. We'll see further back. One of the, I think it was Albon, he lost the front wing going into turn one, and that really hampered his race. And I think he didn't finish it either. So a bad result for them. You can see they're just going into the back of, I wanted to say the Sauber, the Alfa Romeo. And yeah, a pretty good opening laps to the Grand Prix. Vettel was asserting his dominance. He had the clear pace down that straight. He was really pulling away. And yeah, great pace in the car. And then this incident happened. He got a bit tail happy going into the corner there. The car stepped out. He had to go across the grass. And it was the manner in which he rejoined the track. He did say that he saw Lewis there, but there wasn't much space for him to go. If this would have been the French Grand Prix, of course it would have been a lot wider. Lewis wouldn't have had an issue. He could have probably run around and held the position. I would have liked to have seen the stewards actually say, Vettel, give the position back and let Vettel have another crack at him, because I'm sure down that long back straight there, he could have really attacked him, or up the main straight itself as well. But he couldn't pull away that gap that he needed, which was 5 seconds, which he was penalised for. It's quite harsh. He was throwing a bit of a strop at the end of the race. He parked his car just here on the left. Lewis is just approaching him saying, do you want a lift, mate? And he's declined that option. He was clearly fuming. We'll get into the team radio in just a second, and you can hear his thoughts and opinions on that incident. Yeah, so it was a pretty... Lewis could have attacked him. He didn't really need to. He just stayed within that buffer towards the end of the race. Here we can see some reaction. Clearly unhappy. You can see his car's missing from there as well. Stormed off.
You go through the grass and you come back, you have an amazing grip. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I have grass on my wheel. It's his fault if he decides to go that way. If he got to the inside, he got past me. I am focused, but they're stealing the race from us. No, guys. No. Not like that. Not like that. No. Seriously, you need to be an absolute blind man to think that you can go through the grass and then control your car. I was lucky that I didn't hit the wall. Where the hell I am supposed to go? This is the wrong world. I tell you, this is not fair. Great crowd, great race, ragazzi, grazie. Grazie, ragazzi. I'm angry, and I think you know why. And I have a right to be angry. I don't care what people say.
He has every right to be angry. That was his race to win, and that would have really gave a boost to the team. I feel sorry for the team overall as well, because they really needed that. Charles Leclerc drove a good race as well, but they're going to come and protest this again. They're going to launch... It was a kind of a review to the incident. Apparently, there's more evidence come to light. Sebastian Vettel has said in Paddock Pass, previewing the French Grand Prix. So it'll be interesting what can happen there. Could they change the decision? Could they award the points back? Wouldn't like to see that, for instance. You want it settled on the day. But that incident could have been handled a lot better. So Charles was quite happy with his performance. It's a shame he made some mistakes during the qualifying. Didn't really get the true potential out of the car. But what another performance for Mercedes. They was gifted the win, but now this 100% start to the season. They started off on the back foot. Lewis on the practice session did clip the wall. That cost them valuable time. And both cars really suffered. Lewis had a hydraulic leak, and Valtteri on the Saturday or Friday, he had a fuel pressure leak as well. So they just about managed actually to get Lewis's car ready, get onto the grid, and he wasn't feeling too content with the car whatsoever. So it was a really good turnaround from the boys at the Mercedes. It just shows what kind of a machine they are. But yeah, the FIA are definitely helping them. The boss says he can only congratulate the team for the hard work. Lewis says it's not a great feeling ultimately. It's not how you want to win races, but he drove his heart out to make his team proud. And yeah, he done it. He got performance. He could have attacked Sebastian Vettel towards the end of the Grand Prix. Valtteri said, I struggled to get through the Red Bulls and the Renaults in the beginning. Whenever I closed in the cars in the front, the engine and the brakes were too close to the temperature limits. So he had to do his best to manage the car. We saw a lot of teams struggling with that. Notably, the McLaren boys, they really was struggling, but the classification was Hamilton, Vettel, Leclerc, Bottas, Verstappen, Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Stroll, Kvyat, and then outside the points we had Sainz, Perez, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Russell, Magnussen, and Kubica. Not classified, we had Albon and Norris, which both retired out of the Grand Prix. So it was an interesting one. Real standout performances there for the Renault boys. Verstappen as well managed to recover, get well ahead of his teammate after that terrible qualifying performance. Gasly disappointed down there in P8. We can see Lewis Hamilton now 162 points, 29 points ahead of his teammate Bottas. And you can see Vettel there down on 100. So he's really waltzing away with it. It's not much of a contest anymore, which is sad to see, I must say. Mercedes on 295 points to Ferrari's 172. Red Bull there on 124. McLaren doing really well on 30 points. Renault catching them up on 28. So we can see the tyre stints here. A notable one was Sainz. He had to pit on lap 3. He had a tear off in his brake duct that really cost him. And he had to go from lap 3 till the end on one set of tyres. So fair play to him. How do the Red Bulls look? They look really good. They've just announced as well that they're going to get an engine upgrade for the French Grand Prix. So they just throw in parts as they can. So the boss says we can have Gasly 8th, Kvyat 10th in the points, which is positive. Daniel never gave up fighting and claimed it. We must work to improve in order to perform better as soon as possible, given that we are now coming to our first back-to-back races in France and Austria. So maybe that's why they've introduced the power unit there on back-to-back races, that extra performance due to lack of wear and tear, just for instance. And take the grid penalties where they can. I think there's one driver not taking the grid penalty this weekend, and that will be Albon. The rest of the Honda boys will be taking penalties at the French Grand Prix. So watch them coming through the field will be quite interesting. So Max said on the Grand Prix, it was a controlled drive today. We stayed out of trouble at the beginning of the race, and there was not much more I could do. He's really driving consistently well, I must say. Max Verstappen is one of the standout performers of this season and the last part of last season. Pierre Gasly says we need to analyze everything and see what we can improve, but I also need to work hard before the next race. He really needs to start understanding this car. He's had that bedding in period now. It's time to deliver for Pierre Gasly, or it's going to go south, and he could find Kvyat back in that car. So heartbreak for McLaren. This was Lando Norris overheating on the rear left axle. You can see he struggled there, and you can see the part just failing now. So that's a result of the brakes overheating, and just obviously causing that wishbone, that mount, just to collapse under the heat. Couldn't take any strain, and it was a real disappointing for them. They was really running marginal. It cost Sainz during the race as well, because a tear off or something got into that part there. You can see how hot that was. So need to bounce back in the upcoming races. I'm sure they will. They're showing great potential. Been really impressed by the boys, and Sainz was really unlucky in this race. He got caught just at the end by a few cars and lost out on the points. But he's been a very consistent driver over these opening races. Very impressed with him and the team overall. It's a massive turnaround from where they was just, like 6 months ago, you could say, with the likes of Fernando Alonso in the team. There's a good harmony there now, and I really like the balance and the setup. Let me know your thoughts on that. Daniel Ricciardo, the Honey Badger, so happy to see him get a good result for the Renault boys. Got P6 for the team, and really got his elbows out with the likes of Valtteri Bottas, and was really punchy. You could race, you could see him a bit more happier in the car, and it was a great performance for him and his teammate Hulkenberg as well. Let me know, do you think there's a resurgence now from Renault? Is it a one-off track specific? It's a bit of a power track. So Daniel Ricciardo said it's the team's first double points of the year, and it's a big one in 6th and 7th. We can't ask for anything more than that. There were definitely positive signs this weekend. We know the top teams are superior at this stage, but still it was a lot of fun to battle Valtteri in a few laps out there. We're realistic in our approach, and the team should be proud of this weekend with all the work at Enstone and Vary, and we hope to keep this momentum going. So Nico Hulkenberg said, I had a strong pace throughout the race, kept the softs in good shape, and then had fresher tyres at the end. I had to back off a little. But yeah, both the drivers looking pretty happy, really pacey in this Grand Prix. Of course, they're going to be wanting to make a statement at the French Grand Prix, their home circuit. So what can we expect from them there? Slightly different circuit in itself. Toro Rosso have really been impressing me as well. They've really got a good car, good harmony in the team. Kvyat is performing very well, you must say, on his return into F1. And also his teammate Alexander Albon. He was unlucky in this Grand Prix, but Danny Kvyat looking very racy. For Alfa Romeo, they've had a pretty poor start to the season. A bit, they had pace in like pre-season, etc., but they've really not converted it into solid performances. So a bit of concerns for this team. Expect them to bounce back. Another nightmare for Haas this weekend. Where has it all gone wrong? Where has it gone wrong? Roman Grosjean has to be dropped for me. He struggles. He's inconsistent. He said it was a long afternoon. Everything went south at the start. The guys take a lot of risk going 3 wide. I just picked up all the damage. It was I was dead last after that, and we didn't have much pace. So of course we had this disaster where K-Mag wrecked it, and in doing so wrecked his teammate's chance, who was just behind him there in qualifying. So it all really went wrong on Saturday.
Experience I've ever had in any race car ever.
None of us are happy about this pace. The guys stayed up all night to fix the car, so let's bring it home now.
It means that for us it's also not a nice experience. It's enough now. That's what it means. Enough means enough.
Guys, I'm sorry, man. I know you're just as frustrated as I am. Yeah, sorry.
Copy, Kevin. We'll figure it out together.
And the guys in the garage, big apologies. You've done great, as always.
There was nothing meant towards the team over the radio. They did an amazing job this weekend. I made a mistake in qualifying, and they've been able to build me a completely new car for the race today. Where you have to it's basically the tyres, which Haas are really struggling to do. Understand on Saturday they can turn it on for 1 lap, but getting it over a stint seems to be a real problem. K-Mag, not really nice outburst there considering what the team have done for him this weekend. Lance Stroll, the homeboy, had a bit of a scare. He had the new Mercedes power unit in his car, and since been discovered it was a spark plug issue. So they're quite happy, Mercedes themselves, with the engine now. They've identified what it was. Quite a minor thing apparently, but a real resurgent drive. He really doesn't get it together, Lance Stroll, on a Saturday, but when it comes to Sunday, boy is he racy, and he really done well to get points for the team. I'm really happy with that performance. And Williams, again, a bit oblivious, getting mileage under the belt. They're being consistent, finishing races, but really looking for more performance. Hopefully getting some more updates coming soon to the package, and to get them within 1 second of a car, for instance, so they can at least try and keep people behind them. But yeah, what was your thoughts on the race? There's a real divided opinion. You can see polls, it's 56% either way. You can see here him taking the ball home with him. Something to note, this was Renault's best qualifying since Japan 2010. I've got Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes with 1:13.0, got the fastest lap award, and I got the extra point for it. Managed to get a fresh set of boots there. I can see some of the cars just straddling the curbs, just something that I pulled out from the imagery. You can see a lot of new aero updates. These teams are relentless. Expect Ferrari to go well at Paul Ricard, but Mercedes, they should be strong as well through the fast, medium to high speed corners. That's when the muck really comes into it, so I'm really glued to the track. We've got a comparison here. If there was grass around here instead of this confusing maze that you got of going around Paul Ricard, it's a real, if you ever played the game online, it's a real tricky one, I must say, because you can just never see where the turning is. You have to really get a rhythm for the track, and then it will be all right. So I expect in the upcoming race to see a Mercedes win. This is their F2 with 18-inch rims. They're just trialing it for the future seasons, because that's probably coming into F1 in 2021 potentially with the new reg changes. So watch out for that to see it on the F2 cars. And here we can see Danny Kvyat just saying, yeah, I've been there, I've done it. It will be all right. Just stick around, do your bit for the team, and everything will come rosy. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching. It's always good to speak to you guys. Let me know your thoughts on the race. Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? And what can we expect? Who's going to have the potential and the pace going into this Grand Prix? Until next time, have a great night.